Because you're magic people to me. You're magic people to me. Hold your head up high, let your voices fly. I'm proud to be Maori.
All right, kia ora te whānau, welcome back to the Planting Seeds podcast, and stoked as actually to be jumping into another episode with a good friend, with the brother Jack. My brother, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much for having me here. This place is unreal.
How good is it?
Bro, it's just at the office, just at the podcast studio.
Whatever, eh?
Oh, bro, it's lovely. I'm just at the office.
Just got a nice ring to it, eh?
Bro, it's lovely.
Thank you so much, bro, for freeing up some time to come in to have a conversation. There's a few things I feel that are very captivating around you. You know, big part of that is your personality, your energy, your effort, you know, your patience to wanting to grow. And also just, I think the main part of it is just how optimistic you are. You know, you have a very, very good way of viewing life, and very good at being present and bringing that good energy to people and those around you. So very stoked to have you here on the podcast, bro. And we've done some work, close work over the couple of months, and I think you just have an interesting story, and looking forward for everyone to hear that. And so do you just want to talk, introduce yourself and just share a little bit about you, bro?
Kia ora. My name's Jack Edward van der Heyden. I'll give the full name. I'm from Christchurch, born and bred. Lived there until I was about 15, 16, and then my dad had moved previously to Aussie, so we followed dad, you know, for the mine work. Went over to Perth, loved it, did a year of school there. Wasn't a huge fan of a Catholic school, but it was just good connections. And then I got into TAFE, which is kind of like our Polytech here in New Zealand, right, and studied broadcasting. And I was like, oh, this is fun. Everyone was always like, oh, you'd be good for radio. And my brother's classic line is, oh, you have a face for radio? You know, you can see no cameras. And so, yeah, did the studies. Luckily got a job with a lady I was studying with. Got to work in Dubbo. Shout out to Dubbo, the central west of New South Wales. Nothing much there, a zoo and lovely people. So I was there for 7 months and was fortunate enough to get picked up by another radio station in a place called Nowra, which is just out of Wollongong, just on the coast of New South Wales, and just unreal, beautiful, really good time. Did about 2.5, 3 years there, and in 2016, I like to say I ran away, but I went over to America and did a Camp America program. And worked for a company called Camp Walden, and I got to drive boats, which was incredible. I got to be involved in just this whole world of what a different world is like. Right. You know, yes, we're looking after kids, but I was, you know, the adult connections, and I've got lifelong friends who I worked with from this camp. So, you know, very grateful for my time at Camp Walden. And then I went to Canada and did the did the ski season. Right, really into sports. Always been a sports person. Not the best at every sport, but love it. Just love that camaraderie side of sports. So did some skiing, and I got to work at Sunshine Ski Resort in Banff, which was incredible. If you ever get the chance, if you've been there, bro, it's like a Queenstown on crack. It's like just as pretty, but it's just mega.
It's
just a bit more kind of like, you know, next level. And so got to do that for a couple of years, and just very, very grateful for my time there. Again, lifelong friends, connections, fell in love, got rejected. Oh, you're more of a friend, you know, that kind of vibe. But hey, it made me who I am now, and it brought me back to Whakatane. And I'm not from here, obviously, Christchurch, born and bred, but the job came up at Sun FM, where I currently work as a breakfast announcer, and I couldn't turn it down. I couldn't turn it down, and it's brought me, it's probably the best thing that's ever happened to me in my life. Isolation, you know, it saved my life in a sense of, I knew the direction I wanted to go in, but I just hadn't had that time to really kind of go within a little bit. Yeah, and
to get more clarity on that.
Yeah, I just was always kind of like a bit, you know, not running away, but just filling my days with other things, and then having that 15 days. And yeah, the food was unreal. And do you know what really sucked, bros? When people started whinging about the food in isolation. Right. That pissed me off. And I was like, man, I got 3 meals a day brought to my door.
Yeah.
I was living the dream.
Mm-hmm.
And so I really just got to hang out with Jack, and I just was. And that kind of kicked me off. And then my parents picked me up from Auckland, and we drove down here to the beautiful Whakatane. And then all these cool things. I started going to the gym. That's where our first connection happened at Metcon, and that was a beautiful thing. And then I've just doing all these things that my old self wouldn't do, and now I'm just kind of, I'm just riding with it. And it feels very good being the person I always knew I had in there. But I just had to, I suppose, go through the rest of the start of life, which was a good life, not a bad life, but just now leveling up, and it feels good. Yeah, it just does, and I'm still got the same vibe as Jack did 5-10 years ago, but now I've got a bit more purpose and a bit more direction, and you've helped a lot with that stuff, so massive mihi to your way, bro. And I can't say that enough, but just that reassurance of knowing where I'm going, and just keep constantly getting it. And now I'm an ultra athlete. I never would have been like, I'm a pay to go running, and now I do that.
Now you're just clocking up them Ks, and I feel it's just one of the awesome things, just after hearing you talk in that way, it's you've grounded yourself in yourself. You haven't needed to bounce who you are off someone, because people had to validate your energy for you to be that. And there was a period of time, I remember you saying that people expected you to be away. And so there was a time there where you just done that because that's what you had to be for other people. Whereas now, as you transform into this new Jack, you're like, hey, I don't need to be that just for you, and I feel that's such a self-empowering process that you've put yourself through. And, looking back into how you said you weren't running, but you're filling up your days, it just goes to show just how important that time of keeping still was for you. Where you couldn't necessarily fill up your day because you were in isolation. And so, what were some of the things that sort of came up for you as you sat still? What were you able to observe in that space?
I think it was like my ability to realize I didn't actually need to be around people to enjoy my company. I always knew I was fun. I'm a fun dude.
You're fun.
I'm fun. Fun. Farts are funny. They'll always be funny to me, and that dumb stuff. But it makes me who I am, and I was really just taking it. I'd wake up, and you get that knock on the door, and that's the only interaction you'd have with a human other than social media. Thank you for breakfast, sweet. You get your swab, laughing. And then I would just be on my own, and I started kind of writing, bro. And I'm heavily dyslexic, and an excuse always was, I don't like writing, so I would talk. I talk my way out of things. But I started writing, and I had a good friend tell me, just write some things down. Write your thoughts, write your goals, write things down. And I don't write. And so I started writing, and I've still got the papers. They're still in my bag, actually. And it was just writing down of like what I've done, where I've been. It was almost like a diary of the past, but like all the wins, like, I got to drive speedboats all summer long in New York State with the best people. I got to ski the best ski resorts in Canada. Like, these are cool things. And then once I had the positives out, I started getting into the negatives, and I was kind of like, wow, like, all right, this is me now I'm enjoying this, but I don't like this side of me. And then this old thought would start kicking back in, and then I realized I put a lot of it down to having that what's the word? It's like the Horcrux in Harry Potter. It was like food.
Right.
Food, because I've always been a big kid. I've always been overweight, and that was almost like an identity, which I've come to realize is that's how I'd like hide, essentially,
right.
Being Big Jack. That was my nickname. A lot of people still know me as Big Jack, and that's okay, because that was a part of me, and I got a lot of love for that dude. Big Jack's the man.
Yeah.
All his friends, beautiful humans, but just being... and just taking it all in, and being that 15 days of just bit of TV, bit of Netflix, and just being on my own, I started to really go like, oh my gosh, like I actually like myself more than I thought I did.
Well,
I enjoy me, and I had to kind of be like, well, people enjoy me, but why don't I enjoy me? And it's kind of upsetting when you go, man, I always tell other people, hey, you look great, but I'll never tell myself I look great.
Yeah.
and that's something that I'm still very much working on.
Mm-hmm.
But it's everything with wearing nicer clothes, wearing jeans. This man would never wear jeans, bro.
Yeah.
Now I'm comfortable in jeans because I always used to, my fat thighs don't fit jeans. This prop that only wears shorts, Dickie 3/4 or basketball shorts.
Yeah.
And that's what I was comfortable in, because being in that comfortable zone and that mindset was all I knew, and I just stayed within that
boundary.
Yeah.
But honestly, bro, you're pulling it off, man. You're looking good, man.
Thank you. I was fishing.
But you are, and I feel that you're just slowly, I should actually say you're rapidly, right, starting to accept yourself and all that you are. And, being around you closely over the last few months, going through Te Araho, you've already got this major light, right? And that's beaming outwardly. But what I've seen is like you've now allowed that light to beam inwardly. You're starting to see yourself, feel yourself, and really accept yourself. And I think it's just through your constant challenges that you're placing in front of you, but with everything that you overcome, man, you're just transforming as you're going. And, when you think about what it is that you do now, you are a broadcaster. You're just a fitness freak. Me and Jack had a workout, not this Sunday, just last Sunday gone. Sunday. And I arrived late and I was very upset with myself. And we ended up doing a cardio workout, and honestly, Jack just smoked me. He got me by a whole round or something. And I was like, man, this fella's no joke, but he's running marathons, he's biking heaps of Ks, he's just doing so much F45, Metcon, and, talk about your fitness journey, bro. Talk about, because as you said, you've loved sports, you've always been Big Jack up until this point, but now this is just completely part of who you are now. You just love getting out there and getting after it. Yeah,
it definitely, it's given me a whole new appreciation for athletes, and that drive, I think, is what I'm most attracted to, is the word I'd use. I love that feeling of, getting it, because I didn't used to get that. I was, I sure played rugby, played league, all these sports, but I never really took it to the next step, and I saw people around me take it to the next step, and I knew what you had to do, but I just wasn't. I was like, I don't want to dedicate something like that. I'm Big Jack, I'm not going to do that. I can't be bothered. Where now I'm just so I love it. I thrive off it. So I'm fortunate enough to be an ambassador for F45 here in Whakatane, and it's almost, I look at it as like a job. And all I have to do is turn up and be Jack. And it's like, wow, this place I can be myself. I'm getting fit. There's people winning. They're just getting the wins. No matter what it is, they're just winning. And I'm really enjoying that part of me, as being attracted to winning. Because I used to just settle for okay, when now it's like, no, I'm a winner. And you got to work to win.
Yep.
You don't just win. It's not a scratch and, I want a free another scratchy. It's, you've got to work so hard. And it's the classic cliche, and it's cliche for a reason, the iceberg. We see this. We see the trophies, but we don't see the dedication. And I've really found love in the dedication. And it's become such a big part of my days. If I'm not getting after it, I'm kind of going, it's almost like an obsession now, and so my mental kind of drops. But I've worked on that, and I've worked on that to be like, you know what, it's okay, because I'm scared that old Jack's going to creep in, and the old whakaaro with food, and that kind of that slump that old Jack used to go and will come back. But it does every now and again. But I kind of I let him out of the cage every so often, and then just put it back in. It's being in control. And so now I did the Tarawera 53k ultra marathon last year, and actually this year, February, and it changed my life, bro. It really showed me that your mind can do so much more than what you know. And it almost upset me, and I shed a few tears on this hikoi, and it was more of a walk than a run. It was a slow jog, and it took me 8 hours to do. And on about 6 hour, I kind of thought to myself, why am I doing this? and I was just so high on endorphins and pain, and I just kept on going, and I thought, man, Jack, you'd never pay to run. You idiot, you're stupid. And that negative self-talk started to come in. You know, no, you're not good at that. Like, you're not supposed to be doing this. And then I almost ran through it. And I was saying beforehand, I was like, people aren't going to like me after this ultramarathon. And that's okay. Where I used to want everyone to like me.
Right.
And be liked by everyone. But it's like, well, you know what? Some people, you can't be best friends with everyone. I'll acknowledge you as a human, but no more than that. Where old Jack would be so driven by being buddy, where now it's like I was running, I was pushing through these boundaries, and I hit it, and I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm doing stuff that I wouldn't do, but my mind is telling me I can do it. I'm sore, I'm tired, but I pushed through, I finished. My mum and my dad there, I was physically shattered, but I was happy. And then I was like, Mum, I'm upset with myself, because all the times I gave up, I quit, I didn't follow through. That was just my weak mind. And there's no other way to put it. It's just that weak mind, and it's okay to have a weak mind because it is hard. And I credit those people who have those strong willpower, strong mind, determination, all the buzzwords. I love that. But now me having that thought and going, wow, I'm upset with my past self, but then I'm like, I don't want to be that person. I want to be the person who has the strong mind, who turns up, who makes sure, I'm getting after it. Because no one else is going to say, all right, Jack, come on, let's go. Because it comes from here.
Yeah.
No one's going to tell me to put that in my mouth. No one's going to tell me to go to the gym at that time. I've got to do all this. I feed myself. I'm an adult. And I've got to have adult thoughts. And it's like holding on to that past self was very much of like a young kind of kid, where now it's just like, man, I'm becoming the man. And we don't say it enough. We don't call ourselves the man, because we tall poppy syndrome. We hear it all the time. But it's okay to have to speak higher of us. We were talking about it earlier, and being okay with the wins, and tautoko myself more than anything. And I love it, and it feels good. And now seeing people around me win who I love, and people connecting through social media and being like, hey, man, Jack, you've inspired me to go running. And I'm like, man, that, I might not reply straight away, but when I hear those things and see those things, it really fills my cup. Because
gives you more purpose to what you're doing, eh?
It's just the fact that I can motivate someone to do something, it feels like I couldn't do that before. And it's just such a nice feeling to
Do you think
to
your
give that.
Old self would be inspired by this? If you were to put yourself 5 or 10 years ago, and you saw yourself now, what do you think old Jack would be thinking?
Oh man, I think he would be honoured to be in the room with someone who I am now. Old Jack wouldn't have thought he would be at this space, be in these worlds, conversating with the plant-based Māori. That's a great question, man, because it makes you think. I don't think I would have. I used to say, now this is kind of dark, I used to make a joke that if I got to 150 kilos, I was going to kill myself. That's not a fun joke to make. Yeah. But I used to hold on to that and be like,
at least I'm not 150.
Yeah, because then I got to die. And I thought, holy, now it is a joke, because I'm like, come on, Jack, that you can't have those thoughts, because then
probably that sense of that weak mind you're sort of talking to, eh? And I think essentially, where you're at now, you've just taken control, right? You've taken responsibility of your life, as opposed to, I guess, submitting to those weak thoughts, because they're thoughts, and they're actually meaningless until we give them meaning. And I think that's where the power of thoughts lie. And I feel when you move through that space from the iceberg, where that iceberg starts to be seen, you're working through from the bottom, all the way through to the top, and that's you crossing that finish line as you get to the top of that iceberg. But look at all that darkness you have to sort of go through. And that's what I feel a lot of people sort of get, I guess, they become more drawn to this way of living is because every time you overcome doubt, every time you overcome challenge, every time you learn more about yourself, every time you break through, it's like, whoa, you feel that level up. You feel that sense of like inner joy, and you just start to believe in yourself so much more. And I'm just so like overjoyed, bro, just to sort of hear you speak so openly, but also just really acknowledging the significant changes that you've made internally.
Yeah, it a big part of it is within, and the mind is a crazy, crazy machine. I like to think the mind and the body are just two different, and got what is it, the elephant and the rider, and I'd always get told that by my friend Casey, and he'd always say that the elephant and the rider, and I really didn't know what it meant. And now I'm kind of understanding, you've got to ride that bitch. You got to ride it, and you got to make sure that you're keeping on top of things, checking in with yourself. And it's only recently that I'm starting to do that. I'm 26. I'm 27 in a couple of weeks, and I wouldn't check in with myself. And I think it's that old way of thinking in New Zealand about boys don't cry.
Yeah,
we don't talk about things like this. You're not tough if you do this. It's like, why do I have to be all these things? Why can't I do all these different things? You can't do that. Can't do that. Where it's like, no, I can ask for help. I can, be that person. I can have down days. I am allowed to be sad. We don't acknowledge the dark because a lot of us go through it and we just don't talk about it. Yeah. We sweep it under that rug like everything else, and it's just done, and then we lose too many people to this.
To that.
And it's just not nice. And so, I definitely, with my journey, all I want to do is inspire one person. Like my dad, my papa is running now. I'd never seen, yes, he ran and he was into, more biking, but now he's running. We got to do the Christchurch half marathon together. I can't do that, Jack. And I'm like, man, that was my wording. Yeah. And I think it comes from having that father figure who, hey, I love my father, but maybe that self-doubt that he had came down to me, and then I had that self-doubt, and so I'm breaking the cycle, so then it can go back and it can go break my dad's cycle, and I get to see that, I get to witness that,
be a witness to it,
and it's just awesome. And if that's the one person I can motivate, I'm happy.
You're already happy. Yeah.
I'm already
happy.
Think
it's actually like a lot more significant when it is someone very, very within close proximity, someone that you're very, very close to and connected to. It takes that sense of meaning to a whole new level. And you're already inspiring so much people, bro. The conversations that I'm having with people, around you, man, everyone just has so much nice things to say, like just your energy, just your effort, just your mindset, just everything about how you present yourself is honestly recognized by a lot of people without you even probably really understanding the impact of that. And certainly I've felt it. And, where I want to go into now is, we done Te Araho for a couple of months, and you first initially reached out to me, and I did wonder. I was like, man, because of how we've been communicating, it was the assumption I had anyway. You're someone who's a great person, good energy. And knowing myself what Te Araho is, and you wanting to really be a part of that kaupapa made me sort of realize, there must be something a little bit more that Jack must need support on. And so, do you want to just talk a little bit about, how the kaupapa was for you, and just, what you experienced through it?
Bro, incredible kaupapa that we got to do. Just, what's the Pākehā word for kaupapa? I've forgotten now.
It's like program course.
It was such a cool event to be a part of in my life, and there's so much that I'll always hold. And now we have this connection that you've given your time for us, and I know anyone who's done this program will know that. You have to bear back everything. You've got to go back everything from, thinking of who you are to who you want to be. And where it really hit me was like the declaration. Because I don't know if you heard that word on like old-timey Western games and movies, like, I do declare, I declare. And so writing a declaration and being like, okay, who is Jack? And it was such a simple thing, but you just put it down to us, and you're kind of like who is Jack? Who is this? And really go in deep, and having that kind of reinforcement from yourself. And you were also very open, which I really liked, bros, because we didn't have someone sitting on the ivory tower saying, hallelujah, come on through here, I've got all the answers, I'm perfect. You're like, hey, I'm doing these practices daily to better myself so I can put what I've learned on. And I really respect that, because I'm not the best reader. I don't really like study. But a rangaho isn't really I don't like it. But when someone reads a book or studies something and then shares that knowledge, I love that, because you put it into terms, and it was really nice to have this guidance, but I knew it was within just having that kick. And so it really just pathed me away to where I needed to get to. And there was highs, there was lows, there was middles, but it was all from within, and from having a bro, having someone who can kind of just kick you in that direction. Because these aren't conversations you have with your normal bros.
Nah.
And if you do, shout out to you. If you've got bros, that's incredible. But when you have these conversations, you start opening up little doors in your mind and little avenues that you've blocked off. You've let the dynamite go and you've crumbled it away. But then you start bringing the rocks off, and you start, what's under here? Boom, boom, boom. And by the end of it, I was just like, wow, like I'm so sure of myself. I'm okay with myself. I've got the balance of being someone who, the cocky kid at school, to the old Jack who carried himself low and shoulders down. Now it's chest up, and I speak to people how I've always spoken to people. Yeah. The janitor and the cleaner gets the same respect as the CEO. Yeah. Because without that person, we don't have that person. Yeah. It's balance, and just going through Te Araho and then with everyone else, because I was looking for a counsellor. And I really thought, you know what, I need someone to talk to, someone to bounce stuff off. And family members in my world have gone to counsellors before, and it's a pretty open subject, but still not talked about enough. And being like, all right, normalising going to counsellors. And I've been to one before in Australia, but it was very much that sit down on the nice chair and arms crossed. How does it make you feel? And I think it's a bit wanky, especially for my way of thinking and the new age, where having a program like Te Araho, it was a different way of going deeper than having that kind of like, all right, now come back in a week, and it was, and that's it, and then we'll talk, and then you're supposed to leave this room and be healed for the week, but really you've just, released some stuff, and then you go back into your old self. Where this kaupapa, bro, we just got to, go within, dip and dab in groups, and it was a bit more, it was very much like our time of, the social media side of things, being able to connect with people and have a genuine group who actually give a shit. Because sometimes we don't give a shit about people because you've got so much going on. But having a group, like a rugby team, you got your team with you, behind you. Having this team, we were all standing on the same line. Some were walking to the 20 metres, some were still jogging at the back. But no matter what, everyone was bigging up everyone else, and it was incredible, and it's really just changed my way of thinking about so many different things, and I'll forever be grateful. And you'll say, well, it was within you, and I was just there. You were just, you were the Pied Piper, and we were just the little mice. We were the rat things, but in human form. just made it sound real ugly.
Oh, you're incredible, bro. And I honestly, it was incredible just to absolutely sort of like be there to witness, some of the significant changes in your journey, as well as, other whānau members. But, I think a big, as people sort of come into the kaupapa, everyone brings, their sense of value, and I think that creates the mauri within things, right? And the thing that I picked up on in that kōrero was like, you're very big on respect, aren't you?
100%.
That's like a big part of what you sort of observe in other people, you know, and, you know, this is sort of not going in a different direction or anything, but just talk a bit about like respect, bro, you know, and you want to, you really respect a good handshake, you respect, you know, just how people treat other people, you know, because that's a big part of who you are, right?
Bro, that comes from my father, it comes from my mum, having that general human respect. You're a human, I'm a human. Okay, cool, you're alive, I'm alive. That acknowledgement, and I love that about New Zealanders. You can walk past someone, give them the eyes, the churro, and then, morena, sweet, boom, acknowledgement. I've been in other places where they don't have that. There's a head down, no one's looking at you. And we were always raised, and my dad's whakaaro on it, and he's the most beautiful man when it comes to this. He'll be at the checkout, and I remember being a little boy, you know, be at the supermarket and the checkout person, and he would always try and give them that 2 minutes or minute of light and give them his all, because he would always say they could be wanting to kill themselves. They could be having the worst day of their life. So if you can give them that human interaction and respect, because they're sitting there going, beep, beep. I like the ones who are beep, beep. And you just give that interaction to them and it makes your day, but it actually fills you up more. And I didn't realize that that's what he was doing, but then it would be watching the interactions with other adults as a kid. And I always was great at talking to parents. And my mates would always be like, Jack, you got to go talk to the parents, because I didn't speak to anyone that they were lesser or lower. And
right.
that was such a great upbringing that we had, is, you know, you treat everyone with respect, no matter what color, no matter what ethnicity, no matter what shape, you just treated them with respect until they didn't deserve your respect.
Right.
But see, that's where I had to find my balance of, I would let people walk over me. And I'm a big dude. It's hard to walk over me, but it would happen. And I would let it happen. I'd be like, man, come on through, door's open. Yep, abuse the friendship, abuse my good heart. And my parents saw that, definitely. And a lot of my friends and they'd almost question, like, why are you friends with that person? But they wouldn't try and change me to not be friends with that person, because they knew I saw the light in that person. You know, it's quite funny. I got a very good friend who was in a group of friends who used to bully me, bro. And it was just that, you know, oh, you fat Jack, or run away from Jack, kind of little things, but it digs at you.
Yeah.
But I knew there was some good in those boys, and now they're like my brothers. They're lifelongers. We've been through some great things, and the bro Eli, when he gets drunk, if we get drunk together, he always brings it up, and he always sends his mihi, and he's like, I'm so sorry, bro. I'm so sorry. And it's like, bro, I respect you so much for saying that, and I got so much love for you, and that you can identify that, but I always knew there was good in those people.
Yeah.
And now they're some of my best friends. So the real dickheads don't know what they're up to, couldn't care less. But just having those moments in my life, and then now as an adult, seeing how other people respect people. And one I don't like is when people, you know, the classic one is don't sing I love you, you know, when you hang up the phone. Because we always, what if it's the last time you got to talk to them? And that's like a Pākehā way of, in my world, of being like, that's tikanga. I love you. You might have had an argument. I love you.
Yeah.
Because what if that's the last time? And thinking if these are the last moments that you have, the last interaction with that person, the last time you drive past the old lady's house who's always waving, you know, but you don't want to wave because you're in a shitty mood. But it just, those little respect things, the opening the door, if you see the wheelie bins out the front of house, you bring them in. If the toilet roll, now this one got belted into us, if the toilet roll is empty in the wharipaku, you take it out and you put it in the bin, and then you put a new roll in it. Many times I used to leave the roll there, and my dad would be like, get further.
Loses his shit, pet peeve.
I used to collect them and then put them in his bed. Clean rolls. But just having that respect, and it really does go a long way. And and respect in time. And it was funny when we were at the gym and I called you and I knew you'd slept in. And you're someone who I will keep accountable. When you say you're going to, because I know you're someone who keeps yourself accountable.
Yeah.
But I don't do that with everyone. If I say, hey, let's go for a run, you don't turn up, or let's go to the gym. If you break that first time, I can't put my time into it.
Yeah.
Because I've got so much that I've got to get through through the day. I've got to push through my walls. Got to tie the shoelace. That I can't worry about it. I worry about it once.
Yeah.
I'll give you that. Where old Jack used to worry about it 10, 13 times. Oh, do they still like me?
Yeah.
When I don't need to worry about it.
Yeah.
I just need to do me and keep going.
Just
and
keep it going.
Yeah, just keep grinding. So your respect is, what Aretha said it. Aretha? R-E-S-P-C-T.
Aretha Franklin.
Yeah, find out what it means to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she was just speaking it. You got to find out what it means to you.
Bro, I honestly appreciate that, eh? And it is just those little small things, right? And I heard Gary Vee sort of share something online, must have been a few days ago, just about, he was speaking to like young kids, and what he was saying is being kind is actually the most amazing thing that anyone can do, because what he sort of shared is like, if you be kind to people, you know, you don't know where that person's going to end up. But if you're shitty to that person and that person ends up getting to somewhere in life, you've ruined that connection, you know. Whereas if you're always kind to people and you're building genuinely good relationships and you present yourself in a manner of respect, man, that connection can just take you to so many different places in life. Whereas if you aren't a good person, right, if you don't show respect, if you continue to behave in certain ways, you know, your pathway becomes very clear. And so, you know, find out what it means to me, you know, find out what it means to you. I think that's also signaling like, what path do you want to end up on, you know, and how can you allow yourself to be aligned with that. And, you know, bro, it's, I think even for myself, you know, when I didn't turn up and I knew that I was late, I was like, fuck, I was like very rushing around, but that was a big wake up call as well for me. It was like, man, I need to like make sure that I'm punctual. I need to make sure that I'm a bit more on towards certain things, because as I got to the end of my day, bro, that was the favorite part of my day. You know, just waking up on a Sunday, finishing my first week of training back on an ultimate high, you know, and then getting me ready for the following week. You know, as I reflected on that if I just stayed in bed, if I missed that, whoa, what a difference of my day that would have made in terms of not feeling really good. So, you know, I just want to thank you not only for that awesome workout, but also just for keeping me accountable, because it's honestly a beautiful thing to have people around you who don't let you slip. You know, and sometimes, like you said, there is that odd occasion where that can get abused from people around you, and that's where you do start to sort of like let go. But, you know, I really just did appreciate that, bro, and it was really, really good.
Well, I know you do the exact same for me, 100%. Because you wouldn't let me sleep.
No way.
And that's because I know that it's like, you know, I'd give you $10 at a drop of a hat, or bro, I didn't bring my card, because it's not the fact but bro, remember that time I bought you a feed? Yeah. I know out of your goodness that if I didn't have my wallet, you would buy me the coffee, you would buy me the feed. It's not an expected thing back. Yeah. It's just, I know it would happen. And you got to give to get, and it's such a big part of it. And there's a misconception. You don't have to wake up and go and do, you know, heaps of muscle ups or the craziest gym workouts. You can walk around the block. Yeah. You know, if you don't do much, you can do a little. I didn't start running 50 Ks. It took 1K. It took 2. And then I was like, oh my gosh, I can do 3 Ks. I can run 3 Ks. It's a big misconception that you've got to go guns blazing. No, chuck your shoes on, put a nice potty on or some music, and just go for a walk. Just around the block once. Oh, and then next week it's twice. Yeah. And just keep...
little milestones, eh?
Win.
Just those little mini wins, man, just lead to that pinnacle moment. And, man, I've echoed that a few times. You know, we put so much emphasis on the one event that's going to change things, right? Whether that's meeting the right person, whether that's, bless you, thank you, learned that off you.
yes.
Anytime, sorry, I just got to like tell the story. Anytime someone sneezes, man, Jack would just say, bless you. It's regardless. Like, we're at the pool at our wānanga of Te Araho, and we're at one end of the pool and people were sneezing like right at the other end, and he's just like saying bless you, and it's just like fucking so funny that you
It's
do
just
that.
so they know that they are, I got you. I'll
go.
give you a quick bless.
And I don't even know who you are, but I bless you, mate. Yeah, bless you. It's so good. But anyway, coming back to the story, we put so much emphasis on one significant event, right? And it could be meeting that one person, or if I just meet this one person, or if I win the lotto, there's those one things that people put a lot of their hope on. Whereas I believe, man, it's actually a build-up of all the little things, right? And I heard someone by the name of Ara, who from LAB, I was at a speaking event yesterday, and he said this: there's no such thing as good luck, but if you're to define good luck, it's when preparation meets opportunity. So preparation is building all of those little wins. And because you're building all of those little wins, you're preparing yourself for that one opportunity.
Wow.
So when preparation meets opportunity, that is actually when things start to happen. And if you're not preparing yourself well, the right opportunity will not come into your life. And so when I think about, what you're doing, the little milestones, the running the 1K to the 2K to now the 50K and now to the 100K next year doing tarawera, man, this is like actually, you're just building up these pinnacle moments in your own journey, but you're deliberately doing that.
Yes.
You're not waiting. You're like, that's the target. That is going to be the opportunity, but I'm going to prepare myself for that. And it's incredible to see you put yourself through that.
It's crazy to think that, you intentionally put yourself through those moments, but it really, when you can make that decision to go through it, it tastes so much better.
Yeah.
The glory is just so much more rewarding, and the big wins are great, but the process is so much more fun. We were always told it's all about the journey, it's not about the destination, and that was something that I always held. And it actually started with a trip me and my friends took, and me and the bro Will were in the car behind, and a couple of the brothers were in the front in a car, and we missed a turn off, and we were supposed to go to Nelson or something. We ended up in Picton, driving up through Kaikoura and up the coast of the South Island, and we were just the constant kind of the kiwa that we made was, it's all about the journey.
The journey.
And we're on this journey. We got stuck. We got pulled over by the cops because we were like doing U-turns we went down the gravel road. We're like, all right, bro, lock the doors. Like, we're not stopping here. If we get a flat tire, just keep driving. Like, it was crazy. We got to the destination finally, but we were just on such a high because of the journey. And that's the process, is the journey. It's the being tired in the morning. They're going, I've got to get through it. It's about just constant grinding to taste the glory. And then you're like, all right, what am I going to work towards next? And I think people have been doing it for years, and I would laugh at them. Oh, what are you doing waking up early, going for a run, going for a bike? Oh, that's dumb. Where now it's like, no, I'm so, the only word is attracted to that winning and that grind. It's just so lovely to see, and I'm so genuine when I see someone do something. That's why I love social media, because I'll watch and I'll see all these wins, and I'm like, oh, you're getting it, so I've got to go out. If you're winning, I need to be winning. And it's just that drive, and I genuine smiles and videos of wins.
It inspires you,
So inspiring.
There's no need to get salty,
No.
That's like, why would you, like, that just goes to show the mindset of it,
Right.
And when I see people sort of like, when I'm like, hell yeah, and I see it, I'm like, man, how can I do something, And it's mean to sort of, when you put yourself through this, because it ain't freaking easy,
sucks.
not just physically, but the mental strain, the pressure that you put on yourself, all of these kinds of things. But every day you step in the arena, right? When you step in that arena of trying to live a fulfilling life, or finding joy, or being happy, every day you step in that arena, you become so empowered, because you start to, the more you do it, you begin to understand, hey, I'm actually in control.
Yes.
Life isn't happening, just mindlessly. It's not passing by. I'm actually participating and engaging with it. And I think right there is how we choose to live our life, where we have these things in mind, and now we know the journey to get there. you know, whereas once upon a time when you're not aware of that, it's like, man, I want that, but it's just not for me. You know, we give up before we even try. And so, Jack, you know, one last thing that I would like us to have just to touch on is you're someone who is just so heavily appreciative, but also has this genuine love for te ao Māori.
Oh, kia ora.
Right, you're Pākehā, but you are just so you're so deep in wanting to learn, wanting to grow, wanting to better understand. You know, you do reo classes. You're at Te Awanui-a-Rangi underneath Moirangi and Matetsu.
Kia ora.
And, you know, now you go into your first kapahaka practice today.
Second, actually.
Your second.
So I don't have to do my mihi.
Yeah,
because
awesome.
that was nerve-wracking.
But talk about it, bro. Like, talk about, you know, about your relationship and your connection to te ao Māori.
Oh, so it all started with going to Beckenham Primary School in Ototahi down in Christchurch. Before it was Christchurch, now I've got to use its real name. And so I had so many walks of life around us. And again, from the raising of mum, we had all different ethnicities. Majority, you know, Māori, Islander, Indian, Asian. We had a mixture. And my brother, my sister, all their friends, different cultures. We all did kapahaka. You know, we everyone stood up and you learnt the school haka, you learnt the waiata. It's just what you did. And I just had this love for it because I don't like sitting in a classroom where Māori and learning te reo and not just the language, the ao of it, and just being involved in kapahaka was my love. You know, there's photos of me in all the kapahaka groups at Beckenham Primary, and we just had the best time. And all my friends, different ethnicity. I didn't see people. Obviously, they look different, and people have different colours and different inflections on their face. But I saw they were my friends. They weren't anything. They weren't their culture. They were my friend. I didn't say, oh, they're my Māori mates. They're my Cook Island mates. They were my mates. And I always had this love for it and always accepted by whānau of my friends and like accepted more than just like, oh, hey, like, thanks for coming over. You're having a sleepover. It was like, cousin Jack. And I was just so loved because they saw my passion and drive for the culture and for the language and just for everything Māori.
Yeah.
And people used to make fun of me, bro. They spoke, Jack, but you're not Māori. But it was, oh, you're not Maori. You know, and I got put down and constantly ridiculed for not trying, but for trying to do better and for wanting to pronounce words right, for being in te reo Māori at Christchurch Boys High. We're like the throwaway class. People treated, those ones that just want to be brown. No, I'm very happy with being who I am. I love my whakapapa. It's what makes me. But I love the culture because I was always embraced and I had a few really good teachers, and then anyway, came back full circle, went overseas, did my journey, and I always knew that I was going to learn how to speak fluent te reo, but not just speak fluent te reo, and man, it's hard, but be involved in the world of Māori. And I do, this is, kapahaka for rangi hauhiri, which is a hapu here in Whakatane that's, just been given new light and stuff to really reignite that hapu, and being invited by my kaimahi and my kaiakoa, Moirangi Black, everything kind of made sense. And class is hard. Learning the language it's fucking hard. And I got to say the F word because it emphasizes how hard it is. And I sit there in a classroom and we're learning, and my favorite time is the waiata, is the singing, is the dancing, is the laughing, is the joking. And it just brings me all into it, and learning for karo Māori and tikanga. And we have these discussions about, oh, do you have to have the language? Oh, but I'm a Māori man, I don't know the language, but I've got tikanga. And it's like, but that's all part of it. And I think it just it's reassured in our world, especially in New Zealand after the uprising in America, and it was very racist in America. I remember some incidents, and it's not nice because again, I'd hang out with all walks of life because they were my friends. And coming back home, and especially coming back to Whakatane, which is Māoridom, and then still hearing people's pronunciations, and I got chewed out. I got chewed out for saying, instead of matata, I said mata. And I know there's a place mata, but I thought Matata was called this place, and I got chewed out by someone, and it hurt my soul. And then 3 weeks later, I hear this person mispronounce a Māori word. And I'm just like, how dare you? How dare you? You know, it's okay to call out that, but then it's okay to do that.
Yeah.
And I don't forget these things. I'm like an elephant. I remember this stuff, and because I remember disrespect.
Yeah.
Respect, but disrespect I remember more. And I would always make it my mission and my thought pattern to, no matter what I do, I always have to come with that aroha and that love and that tikanga Māori, because I live in the world. I'm a broadcaster in New Zealand, and I have, it's my duty of care for the people, for the tangata whenua, to do better. Because it's gone on too long with people being normalised to announce things wrong, to say names wrong. Names hold a lot of meaning, which I've learnt studying Te Reo Māori. And it's a hard journey, bro. It's a very hard journey. But, you know, tu whitia te hopo. You know, you've got to feel the fear and do it, because if you don't, you're just going to be that old self, that person who doesn't want to get out of bed early. It really just submerge yourself in it. It's really helped me. And people say, like, oh, you do everything, Jack. I go, no, this isn't enough. You know, this isn't enough. This is nothing. It's a lot more than what I'm used to, but they didn't know that, Jack.
Yeah.
They know this version. But I know him. I talk to him all the time. He's always up here. And so being submerged fully in fitness and wairoa and whakapapa Māori stuff, it's just, I'm learning so much, bro. It's incredible. You know, and my dad always had tikanga, my mum always had tikanga, and then growing up Pākehā and loving my life, loving my family, but then being around all these other family and being accepted by their families, being gifted. My first part of my tāmoko was gifted from a family, and but you're white, but you're white, you shouldn't have that. I'm like, but Māori, you're born with that if you're Māori, if you've got Māori blood. As a Pākehā, we have to earn that. You have to do your due diligence to get it. Because if you're just going to get it because it looks cool, you're doing it for the wrong reasons, bro.
Yeah.
You're doing it for the wrong reasons. And cool, but you're not in my world. And so we just have to do better, bro. We have to do better. Us Pākehā, we got to be allies, you know, or go back to England. If you can say, like, what is it, Sauvignon Blanc and the Camembert cheese and all those wanky words, but you don't want to say a Māori name right, or give it a go.
Give it a go.
Give it a go.
Yeah.
Then I haven't got time for you. It's with times are changing. Oh, but that's how I've always said it. Change your shit, Karen. Change your shit. It really fires me up, bro, because I can say certain things that a Māori person couldn't say because they would get shunned down. Oh, but you're just being a loudmouth. No, I'm a stand up. I'm a stand in front and take the bullets. You know, that's my whakaaro on it, is I'm a stand in front and say what needs to be said.
Bro, you're powerful, bro. You're a fucking champion, Jack. You're a definite champion, bro. And honestly, just want to thank you, bro, for really coming in, bro, for laying it out, for bringing your personality. Thank you. Right, for bringing your energy, for bringing yourself to the podcast. And I'm sure the people who have been listening have received so much value, bro. If not, they've at least enjoyed, you know, some of the things that you've said, bro. And you said your goal is, you know, just to change one person. And honestly, whānau, and I want to put this wero out, this challenge, that if you have felt like that this kōrero has given you some value, please reach out to Jack, right? Or have him tagged in the description, or have him tagged on Instagram. So, you know, make sure you reach out to him and you let him know that what is one thing that you got out of this kōrero, so that he knows that, you know, his purpose or his sense of meaning is just through influence and inspiring just one person. So that'll be very helpful for me and meaningful from my end. But Jack, just want to give it over to you, bro, that if you have any last words that you might want to share, bro, really want to give you this time just to let it out.
That's a great way to give someone their space, you know, their final words. I would say thank you. Thank you for welcoming me into the space. Thank you for coming into my life. A lot of people have their friends and stick with their friends. And, you know, having connections is different, because I don't know anyone in this area. And having someone who I've connected with, I really do appreciate. Raniera, bro, you're an incredible human. And if you're thinking down, if you're thinking, that you can't keep going with something you're doing, maybe something, really go within yourself and just question why. My mother would always help me with the pros and cons. Why is this good? Why is this bad? You can do it with literally everything.
Mm-hmm.
I would write a pros and cons list. Do it on your phone and just write down what's good, what's bad about your day, what's good or bad about your life that you think. Really sit in that feeling, really enjoy it, really be in that moment. And then just think about it and process it. And then maybe voice it to someone, because you've got to be okay with voicing things. And I just would really encourage you to be yourself, keep getting after it, and just keep winning, and just love and respect. It goes a long way, love and respect. But yeah, a massive mihi your way, bro. You're an incredible human, and thank you for having me on. And thanks for inviting me to the studio / office. Oh!
Yeah, bro, we need to give this place a name, bro. But thank you for gracing us, brother. Tēnei te mihi nui atu kia koe, bro. And honestly, just feel so privileged just to sort of be in your space and to have you as a friend, a brother, along the rest of the journey. So thank you so much, bro. And to the rest of the whānau, thank you so much for tuning in, and hope that you guys are all doing well. See you in the next episode. Let's go.